You all know what we were studying? You all know or you all don't know?
Constructor.
Okay.
Memory management.
Okay. So I hope that concept is clear, right? What is reference variable and what is the real object? What is the difference between these two? And where object is stored, where reference variable is stored. I think those all things are clear. As well as I think you have understood that reference variable is just a name that is given to the object, which is pointing towards the object, okay, which is telling that object is there. But the real object is something else. How we saw this? We saw this by we also saw that whenever you create a variable also in Python, that time also you actually are creating an object. You all know this, right? So if someone asks you like when we are creating a variable, right, any variable, that time what is it exactly? Okay, it's not like normal programming language where we are only storing this value inside that. Okay, I have already told you that whenever you are creating a variable also, right, that time also you are actually creating an object. We have discussed about this point. I hope that is clear, right? How in that also, what is the object name and what is the reference variable, which is pointing towards the object, which is the real object and which is the reference variable. I think that also is clear. Is that clear? Is it clear or no? You are understanding what I am saying? See here, when we wrote this line a is equals to 5, what is this? Can someone explain me what is that? In oops concept, can you explain me this one? What is this? I know that we have created a variable in which we are storing the value 5. That's completely fine. No problems with that. But what can you explain me in terms of oops? What is happening here? Come on, fast. Let's not waste time. I have explained this thing in the last class itself, I feel. Hello. No one knows? You all know or you all don't know, first of all? What is this? A is equals to 5. What is this exactly? What is happening here? What is A? What is 5? All this kind of stuff I want to know. Come on, fast. Like, if you sit like this, no, at least tell me you all know or don't know at least. Why to waste time?
5 is stored in A.
5 is stored in A. Yes, that is right. But can you give me some more explanation, like what is going on there in Python? In terms of Python, I am talking. That's a very simple thing, like 5 is stored in A. Yes, that is also right. But more better way related to oops. How you can relate it with oops? You know or you don't know? You tell me first.
Declaration.
Yes, these all things are right. In every programming language, these all concepts will be there. Declaration. It is actually initialization. We are initializing some value inside the variable A. But in Python, I told you, it's actually everything is an object. I have already told. When you create a variable also, you are actually not creating a normal variable, but you are creating an object. I have told this line. You have actually created here an object of integer class. How did we understand that? Last class I have told this. You print and see the type of A. You will understand that you have it will print and show you class int. Class int basically means what? This is actually belonging to some class, and if class is there, that means that this is actually an object. You have created an object, and that object is 5, and you have created a variable which is actually the name of that particular object. How we have human beings, right? I am the real object and Gautam is a name that is given to me. That way you have actually created a variable a, which is the name of this object. Where is the object? This is the object. Phi is the object. In Python, when you create a variable also, that time it is actually an object. You are actually creating an object of some class. That class can be integer class, that class can be a string class, that class can be a floating point class, but you are creating an object. Whenever you write a equals to 10.0, you actually created an object 10.0 of floating class. And where are you storing that object? What is the name of that particular object which you have given? A. If I write a is equals to hello world, you have created an object. The actual object is hello world, which is stored inside heap memory. And what is the name that is given to this object? Name that is given to this object means what? Like I am the real object, but what is the name that is given to me? Gautam. Gautam is just a name. That's it. Gautam is not the object. Gautam is just a name that is given to the object. I am the real object. So similarly there, a is equals to hello world. A is just a name that is given to the hello world object. Hello world is basically an object which is belonging to which class? String class. How to prove it? Print type of a, you will understand. It will print class int. That means this is belonging to the class, string. So this is indicating that you have created an object of integer class. So what I am trying to point to be understood is, in Python, everything is an object. When you create a variable, when you initialize variables, all this what you are doing, right, you are actually creating an object of some class. And you might ask, where is the class? The class is actually hidden. That is nothing but like built-in functions. Where is the definition of built-in function? You write the definition of built-in function? No. You write only the definition of user-defined functions. Built-in function definition is where? It is written already by someone else. You can just see it, right, by clicking on control and plus, hovering over that and clicking it. Similarly here also, the class is actually written by someone else, whoever the programmer is there, right? He has already written the class and you are just creating an object of that class. Because if you just see here, creating an object is just a single line of code. See here, creating an object is just like calling a function. And what is the definition of the function? Definition of the function is same like creating a class blueprint. So you can just relate it with functions. When we create function definition, right? Function definition is just like saying like I am creating a class. That means I am creating a blueprint. I am writing all the attributes and all the parameters that are attributes and behaviors that are available inside the class. And what is creating an object? Creating an object is just like calling a function. It's a one-line program, man, where you create an object, actual object. Is that clear?
Yes.
If you are not able to answer this one right, then either you did not understood it, either I did not teach it well, I feel. So I'll just tell you different ways of creating variables and attributes and functions, okay? So inside a class. So what does class contain? Tell me. Class will contain what? Class is a blueprint.
Variable and function.
Variables and functions. I told you, right, last class that you will be not calling it variables and functions from now onwards. What you will be calling it as?
Objects.
No, not objects. Class will never contain objects.
Behavior.
Behavior and attributes. Correct. Attributes and behaviors. See, objects will be not there inside a class. Don't misunderstand these two things. You create an object with the help of a class. It is just like you want to create a car. First of all, you created a blueprint of that car. Then you gave this blueprint to the manufacturing company, and the manufacturing company gathered all the materials, created the skeleton of that car, attached the wheels, all that parts, whatever is required. They attached all those things and they produced a car. So class is just a blueprint, that pen and paper work where you have written all the features. This is going to be the color of the car, this is how my car is going to look, this is the design of it, this is the top speed of it, these many gears will be there inside it, all this kind of stuff. What you have written, right? That is just a class. But what is the object then? Object is the real object which is produced after manufacturing the car. And to manufacture the car, you will have to take it to some industry, right, where all the manufacturing equipments are there, all the materials are available and all. So there is a difference between class and object. Object is not there inside a class, but you can create objects with the help of a class. Without class you cannot create objects only, because there is no blueprint only. What car will you manufacture? With the help of blueprint you can create as much number of objects as you can, as much number of objects as you want, that much number of objects you can create with the help of blueprint. That blueprint is nothing but a class. Now I am telling you different ways of creating variables or attributes and methods that are there inside a class, because you already know a class will contain only two things, one is attributes and one is behaviors. So how to create all these kind of behaviors, okay, that is what we are trying to see. So last class I have already told few ways. Let's create one object. This is the object which we are creating.
Gautam, are you presenting the screen?
Sorry. So this is the human class which we had created, nothing much difficult here, right? So what is this, can someone tell me? What is the constructor, can someone tell me? And the types? What is the constructor and its types?
It is a function which gets executed without call.
Yes, completely right. Like bin bulaye mehman hai. You know, some people will be there, no, in a surrounding, who will come to functions even without calling them. तो ऐसे वाले मेहमान is this guy constructor, जिसको कोई बुलाता नहीं फिर भी वो आ जाता है. It will be called automatically without someone calling it. That is the speciality of this constructor. So again, one very important point to remember is that constructor name will be always same as, constructor name is always same as what?
Init, under
Yeah,
underscore, in.
See, underscore is actually a special function in Python. Okay, we call it as constructor. You can call it as constructor also. Some people call it as constructor also, but you know, actual constructor is here, because I have already told you that constructor name is always same as class name. If you see here, this class name is exactly the class name which I have written here, and these brackets I have written. So it's a function, right? You know that whenever you use these brackets, it's a function. So you should understand that this is actually a constructor. Who is the constructor? Human being is a constructor. And whenever you call this constructor, right, or sorry, not call, whenever you create an object, right, with the help of constructor, that time what will happen is automatically this function will be executed, which is that function underscore init function. Some people call underscore init also as a constructor. Okay, so you can look it at both ways, but if you want to really understand the concept, the constructor is actually here. You have created a constructor here. Why? Because constructor name is always the same as class name. So we say that the actual constructor which is created is here. Once you create the constructor will be actually called when automatically the object is created, right? That way you say, right? So some people say that underscore init is a constructor. Why? Because this is the function which automatically will be called when object is created, and where you are creating the object, here you are creating the object. So you can call like this also. Underscore init is the constructor. You can call like that also. In Python, underscore init is like a constructor, which it's a function which will be called automatically when you create an object. And where you created an object, here, this is the place where you created an object. This is the line which is responsible for creating the object, and whatever object you have created, you are giving it a name. Just like we created my body and someone gave me my name, which is Gautam. So you created this object. You can consider this line as my whole body, the real Gautam, okay, which is there. Real Gautam I am talking, okay, and this is just a name that is given to the Gautam's body, okay. So this is the real object, this is the object's reference variable or the name. Is that clear? Is it clear or no?
Yes. Yes.
If you have any doubts, you can ask. Okay, now we are going to see how many different types of constructors are available. You can consider now simplicity. For simplicity, you consider that this one itself is the constructor. Okay, underscore init is the constructor. Okay, this is the constructor which will be called automatically when you create an object. Object is here. You create this object. As soon as you create this object, this constructor will be called. Okay, and underscore init is the default constructor which is available in Python. Come on, fast. How many types of constructors are available? How many types? You don't know? We discussed this in last class. Not something new. How many types of constructors are available?
Default constructor and parameterized constructor.
Yeah, how will you understand whether it is default or parameterized?
If we pass parameters in that bracket, then it is parameter.
Yes. Whenever you are creating an object, right? That time if you pass some parameters while creating an object, then it is called as parameterized constructor. Where is the constructor? Init is the constructor, right? Yes. So init is the constructor. If init is accepting some parameters apart from self, self is a default parameter, you know it. Self is actually a default parameter which is passed to every function that is available inside a class. I have already told, note it down if you want. Self is a default parameter which is passed to every function that is there inside a class. And can someone tell me what is self? Can some, in your own words, tell me what is self?
It's a reference variable.
Exactly. It's a reference variable, but that reference variable is like pointing or holding what?
Object.
Object. Whatever the object is there. Sorry, you're saying something, Sejal? It's a reference variable, correct what she told, which is pointing towards the object. That means it is just like a name that is given to the object. Okay, so you can consider that it is holding, it is a name that is holding towards, pointing towards the object. If you say self, right, that means you are referring to you are referring to the object. How someone call Gautam, right, or Gautam or my full name, right, then that they basically mean to me, who is the real object, right? So similar like that. It is just a name. When you call self, right, you mean to say the object, whichever the object is there, right? You are actually trying to mean to call it maybe or to speak with it. So if you call my name, then I will be called, right? You are referring to me, right? So something like that there also. If you call self, then self is actually referring to the object itself. That sounds good. Let's see. If no parameters are there in this, right? Nothing is there. Only self is there. Then which type of constructor is underscore init now?
Default
Constructor. No parameters are there. So if parameters are there in underscore init is a constructor. If underscore init is a constructor and it has parameters, then it is called as parameterized constructor. Now how to declare variables? Because we have already seen created so many functions, right? This is one function which we have created, which is a constructor. This is another function which we have created. This is another function which we have created. Now can someone tell me this is a user defined function or built-in function?
user defined function.
Yes, perfect. Looks good. User defined function. I hope everyone is able to answer that, seeing itself. Def keyword is used, so you should understand that we have created the definition on our own. We have not only called this function, right? We have written the definition also. And when we studied user defined functions and all, I have already told, when you write the definition on your own, then it is called as a user defined function. Different ways of creating variables is one way we'll see. So a class will contain variables and methods, right? So we have already, this is a method, this is a method, this is a method. We have already created some methods. Let's create some attributes also. I can create some attributes like maybe color of this human. I'll create two attributes. Okay, age and eye color. I can say age is equals to 14. This way I can create an attribute here. Attribute means what? Variable. If you basically see this, you actually created this syntax basically tells that you created an object of integer class and the object name that is given to that object is age. Okay, in Python it means like this, not in other programming languages, not all programming languages, but in Python it means like that. If you create a variable, right, that basically means you are creating an object, okay, of some class. Where is that class? Class is internally written by someone else. So eye color, two variables I have created. Okay, so let's not write this. Let's use default constructor because I've already written those variables here. I'll not pass any parameters here. Something like this. This is one way to do it. Okay, I have created two variables, age and eye color, and I have created the human object. I don't want to pass any value. Okay, so if I do like this, okay, and now let's say I'll create two objects, Gautam and Snail. Okay, here also I'll not pass anything. So now what will happen, you know, the problem is that let's say if I print Gautam dot age, okay, age, if I try to print this one, and if I try to print here Snehal dot age, now can someone predict what is the value that will come here, what is the value that will come here? Because I have already told dot operator is used for what, how to do this, all things we have discussed in last two classes. Can someone tell me what is the value that will come for this Gautam's age and Snail's age? Come on, fast. You are getting the point what I told? Hello? Why you guys like sit so much silent? We have spoken about this so many times in so many classes, right? That we are not going to basically be sitting like this. There is no point. You should never consider me also like a professor. Whatever you answer, it's correct, it's wrong, it doesn't really matter. What really matters is you are answering or not. You know why? Because when you keep answering, right, you just notice this, okay? When you start answering in any class, you will feel little bit motivated on your own itself, that you are understanding. And again, one thing what will happen is your concentration will be maintained or your focus will be maintained there. But if you see any class, if it is going boring, okay, then no one will answer, no one will ask any question, just you will sit like listening to that, but your mind will not be there, it will be roaming somewhere else. So you know what, another way to maintain your focus inside a class or concentration inside a class is you should keep on asking something. You know why? When you ask something, the conversation goes somewhere else, you have a chat, you have a talk and all. So because of this, no, your mind will come back again to the main place. So I heard somewhere this, someone had told, so I just thought to share. But if you keep on interacting, right, you feel that you are there, okay, or else the class will be boring. Anytime you noticed, okay, anytime which you don't interact, right, you just sit and listen the class, you will feel little bit bored. But if you are interacting with your friends, right, you will not feel bored, right, and I hope you all will consider me as your friend itself. So come on, fast, just tell me what is the answer which you are expecting. Right, wrong is not the question. What is the answer if you are expecting when I am asking to print Gautam.h, Snail.h? Two objects I have created. 14. For both or one?
For both.
For both. Okay, why? Let's try to run and see. Python, oops, I am getting 14. Okay, why 14? Because here I have hard coded this value and I have told age is equals to 14 and color is equals to brown. So for all the objects that you create, right, the same value will be assigned. The same value is assigned. Why same value is assigned? Because it's common sense. Because I have hard coded this value, right, so obviously same value is going to be assigned. If you do, this is one way to create variables. This is what we were talking, right? You can create attributes and you can create methods inside a class. So these are actually called as attributes, these are actually called as methods. But the only way, if you create like this way, right, then the problem is that you will end up giving same values for every object. So every object, and we don't want to do like that. We want to manufacture cars in such a way that the design looks same, but we may produce the cars in different colors. We may want to create a human beings, but we may want to create some human beings which speak more, which speak less, which maybe have some extra talent, who can do something magic, who cannot do some magic, maybe whose eyes are different, whose hair color are different. We want to produce customized objects. We don't want to create such a car like we have given a blueprint of a car and only that color car is getting manufactured. It never happens. You just go and see. If any Creta model is coming, okay, then it comes with so many variants, it comes with so many different colors. If any bike also you go and buy, it comes with so many different colors, it comes with so many different variants, little change in power and all those kind of stuff. So what we want to do is, we generally want to create a class or a design, and then whatever objects are getting produced of that class, right, we want to customize those objects. Maybe some changes, not be all changes, all the functions and all will remain same, all the features will remain same, but we may want to do some changes, like we may want to give some different color to the object, we may want to give some, maybe some attribute we want to add to some particular objects, and those kind of stuff and all if you want to do, then you can use one more way of doing this. The another way of doing is, this one is, you can do like this. I'll just comment out this. Okay, I can just do, I'll comment out, this is one way. I'm just telling you different ways to do it, okay, nothing to get confused here. Second way what you can do is, you have created an object, right, I will say that I will not give any static hard coded values here. What I will do is, I will first of all create an object of this particular class, okay. After creating the object, I will do some modification. Okay, I'll create an object first, normally create an object. After creating an object, I'll assign some properties to that. I can say Gautam dot, I will assign age property to that, and I will say age is 14. Now what I did is, I created first of all a normal object, and after that I basically, maybe a normal human being they created, or a normal car, basic Krita model they created, and after that they basically assigned some color to that. And maybe another Krita model is created and they are assigning some different color here. So you can do Snehal dot age, maybe something else here, something like this. This is the another way to do it. You got the point? You got or no?
Yes. Yes.
Everyone understood it or no? See, your concept should be crisp and clear. You should not have confusions in mind that ye kaise hoga, ye how is it like this. Don't keep such kind of confusions in your mind. Okay, if you have any, I told you I am open, like not like any professor, but you can ask me in like your friend itself. I'll teach, I'll explain you whatever is there, but your concept should be crisp and clear. When you just explain, if someone asks you, right, like what is a class, and you explain it in such a way to them that they should be completely thrilled that this guy or this girl knows this concept, man. She knows what she is speaking. Instead of saying, I told class is basically a set of attributes, set of functions, an object is an instance of a class. So you can explain it in so well, very better way right now, right? You can tell them, if you want to store some real world objects in a program, how will we store? Because we don't have any data type which we have learned to store those. Any object if you want to store inside the program, we don't have any data type itself. So sir, we use the concept of classes and objects. And what is this class? This class is actually a simple blueprint. Whatever object we want to store, right? Let's take an example. If we want to create an object itself on our own, if we want, let's say we want to basically store your object, or we want to store you inside this program. I'm speaking in terms of, like, I am saying this to the interviewer. Okay, if I want to store, sir, you itself inside this program, you the real entity who are there sitting in front of me, what to do? No data type is there, I cannot store you in integer, I cannot store you in floating point. Now what I will do is, I'll create a class. Class means what? Blueprint. I'll write all the features what you have, right? All those features I'll mention inside this class. You have 2 eyes, you have this color, that color, you can walk, talk, all these features I'll mention inside this class. After creating a class, my next job is to create an object. And when I create an object, that is when you get created. If I explain it in proper way, right, when you understand the concept properly, right, then you can explain it well to the other person. The other person should feel that they really know, and you are not just saying it for the sake of saying. Don't just say for the sake of saying, College exams are okay because even I do the same thing, so that's completely fine. But apart from college exam, whatever you do for your career, right, what you want to do or what you do for your career, what you love doing, at least those places I think you should not do what you without understanding what you're saying. Understand what you are actually saying, what you mean to say. You should understand first what is it exactly, and you must have curiosity to basically know more about that. So this time if I print what I did here, first of all I created an object. After creating an object, what I did, I created a variable inside the object, or attribute I created inside that object. Matlab, I gave a feature to that particular object, age, and I assigned some value to that. Now if I print Gautam.age, right, it should print me some value. And if I want to print this one, right, snail's age, that time also it should print me some value. Perfect, looks good. Let's run it and see. See here, we are getting it. Now we made the ages dynamic. We made the properties of these objects dynamic. That means now whatever car, if we are producing a car, we have created a blueprint. That's no doubt in that. But advantage is that we can produce cars of different colors now. Same car is there, same model is there. It will look the same way, but colors can be different now. If you want to create human beings, or if you want to create some robots, you can create robots. Maybe you can paint different colors to those robots. One robot, maybe you can give one eye, one robot you can give two eyes. Such customizable objects you can create from a basic simple blueprint, which is a class. This is another way to do it. Can someone tell me third way to do it? We have already done. Another way to do it. Another way to assign some values or attributes to these objects that are getting created. What is another way? We have already done it. Come on, fast. Just think. Come on, fast. We have done it, I'm saying.
By passing parameters.
Exactly. Amazing. Okay. So I think you completely understood what we are basically doing inside this class. Another way is pass parameters, catch it in self variable and store it inside this object. Just pass some parameters here. I'll pass age 12. I can pass like this also. I can give some variable name and I can say age is equals to 12. I can say here also age is equal to 12. Perfect, looks good. That way you will catch. Whenever you will pass a parameter, right, from here, whenever you will pass a parameter to the, when you are creating the object, then where it will go? Where that parameter will reach, whatever you have passed. Where it will reach? Come on, fast, bolo, jaldi bolo. Where it will reach, or where you can catch that? Which corner? You got my question? I have passed this parameter age. So where I will get this parameter now? Where I can catch this parameter or store this parameter in something? Which place? Where? Come on, fast. Whatever you pass from here, where it will go? You were there in the last class, right? All? You don't know?
Main.
Main. Where is main?
Sorry.
Where this parameter will come and reach? Whatever you pass when you are creating the object, if you pass some parameter there, that time when you are creating an object, where that parameter will go? Where you can catch that parameter?
In the place of self.
Where? Which? Where? Because self is written at every function that is available.
Self.age.
No. Where you can catch that parameter, I am asking. Whatever this value you are returning, this value, whatever you are returning, where it will go? My question.
Class human being.
Class human being. Yes, inside class human being where? What you told is right. Class human being. Obviously, it should go inside class human being because we are passing this age is equals to 12 to class human being. Where it will go in class human being? It will go at this place. It will go here. It will come here. It will come here. It will come here to this function. Which where it will go? You don't know seriously. You don't know? Then what you did in the last class, you told everything I understood.
Inside a class human being?
Correct. Inside class human being where? How can I catch it? See here, I'll give you a simple example. I'll create a function add. Okay, it will return me something a plus b. Now somehow I have to call this function add, and I'll pass some values 3, 4. My question is this: whatever values I am passing when I am calling anything, where it will go?
It should
Where
go
it
in
will-
those brackets, no?
It should go to which function first of all? Add function. Will you agree? Yes, no, it will go to add function only, no? Or it will go to somewhere else?
No.
Add function. Now add function where it will, you can catch that values. Whatever values is come, whatever values some add, whenever you are calling the function you have sent, right? Those values, where I can actually catch them and store in something. Where should I write the program for that?
Inside those brackets.
Inside those brackets you will write variables where you can store. So here what will happen? This value whatever you are passing will go and store in this variable. This 4 value whatever you are passing will go and store in b variable. Simple. How many values you are passing from here, that much variables you will write here, so that these variable can catch the values whatever has been thrown whenever you are calling the function. So someone is calling the function and throwing some values, and these variables can catch those values. Now simply I am asking same thing here. Here also when you pass some values while creating an object, I repeat, when you pass some values while creating an object, what is the code for creating an object? This line is the code which is responsible for creating an object. These values whatever you have passed, right, where it will go? You don't know? Then last time you did not understand itself. You just told I understood. Because I am creating an object right here. I am creating an object, and when I am creating an object, that time I am passing some value, so it will always come to the init function, not to any other function. It will come and reach to init function itself. And how can you catch it? After self you put a comma and catch it in some variables. I will say it age. Whatever I am passing from here will come by default where? To init function itself, because it's a constructor. There only it will come always. But what if I do something like this? Gautam.speak if I do. Hello. I'm telling Gautam what to speak. So I'm passing some value here. Now this value where it will go? This value where it will go? Guys, you understanding
Yes.
or no?
Yes.
Where it will go, that value? Hello. Don't tell me it will go to this class human being. It will go to class human being, I know, but where specifically, you tell me where it will go. This Gautam.speak hello. This value hello, where it will go?
Speak method.
Speak method. Okay, that means here. You can catch it here.
Yes.
Yes, something like this you can catch. And you may say that, hey, I am speaking something, and maybe I can use f string, and I can print what I am speaking. What I am speaking is actually stored in the variable word, because whatever you pass here will come and reach to this variable, and that is how you can printing it here. this, whenever you're creating an object, right, that time if you pass some values, these will always go and reach to the init function and you can catch it here. Okay, this is another syntax of doing it. You can catch it here. Now whatever this value has come, right, you should assign it to the object. How to assign some value to the object? With the help of self. Always remember this. How to assign some value to the object inside a function. How to do it? Using self. Very simple. Using self you can do it. So how to do? Self dot, you will create a variable, or you will create a new attribute, age. Self dot age. This is actually a attribute you are creating. How we created here? For this particular object we created an attribute, right? See here, Gautam dot age. I created a new attribute for Gautam object age. So here self is actually an object, right, which is pointing towards the main object, but self is a reference variable pointing towards the main object, right? So in this object we are creating a new attribute which is age, or to be more specific, in this variable which is pointing towards the object, we are creating a new attribute which is called as age, and we are storing some value inside that. What value do you want to store? Whatever is coming from age, that means this age whatever is coming, that I have written here, and whatever age is coming here, that will be stored inside the attribute age, which will be created inside the object self. Is this clear or no? No response, that means you are not understanding anything. Hello, you all are alive?
Yes.
Oh, I am grateful someone spoke. And I am also grateful that you all are alive. Why don't you speak then? Like, you know, you don't know, that's not the question itself. Like, if you don't know also, it's okay. Did you understand what I was telling here?
Yes.
You understood the three different ways of creating attributes. You can create directly here, but those will be static, will remain same for everyone. You can create something like this also. After creating the object, you can create variables and you can assign some values to that, something like this. Another way is basically passes inside the constructor, and that will reach to the underscore init function, and there you can attach it to the self. And once you attach it to the self, right, now the self has access to all the values. Is that clear? Did you all understand these three different ways which I talk?
Yes. What if we don't have a constructor?
What? If you don't have constructor itself, let's say this constructor is not there. It's your choice.
Is
Okay?
it compulsory to have constructors?
No, not at all. Not at all. Constructor, if you don't have, you can use like this to assign some attributes. We can do this, right? This does not require any constructor. Constructor is not there right now. Okay, see here. I have commented out constructor. Now what I will do is, I'll just comment out this one also. Okay, and I've created an object here. Let's not pass anything because there is no constructor, and I will just not say, let's say not say this also. Let's not say this also. Okay, let's do this one. Gautam.age, assign some age to it and print it. It will work. Let's assign something first of all. Okay, let's do one thing. Let's comment out these two lines, uncomment out these two lines. Perfect. It will work as it is. See here, it is printing. Now question is why we have constructor then? You should ask this question. You did not ask. See, if I also can think like y'all might get these kind of questions, and I will try to answer them in advance itself before you all asking. But if you all ask questions, right, you will get more information from my side. Something which I have not told, maybe I have forgotten, or which I don't wanted to tell, that information also you will get from me if you ask me. I don't have any issues if you ask me why constructor like this, what if we like this. I don't have any issues. So your question should be why we have constructor then. Constructor is actually used for initialization. Okay. Is actually used for when we want to initialize some values, used for initializing the object values or object attributes. Usually you will find the use of this time. See, after creating an object, right? After creating an object, the class will have different set of functions. Like here we have eat, here we have speak, all these kind of functions. So maybe you want to set some standard properties before calling all these functions. You may after creating the object, you may call eat function, right? You may call speak function, right? But there can be some standard values which you want to set before calling all these functions. And the best way to do that is basically constructor. Why? Because constructor is the first person which gets called before calling any function inside a class. As soon as you create an object, constructor gets called. That means that is the best place to initialize all things. Let's say if you want to initialize the connection with the database, let's consider that there is a function here which actually gets some data from the database. For those who don't know, database is basically a place where all the data is stored. All your data, I mean all your Facebook data, or every data what is available on the internet, you are submitting all those forms, right? You will fill all the email address and all. Where is the data stored? You say usually that data is stored on the server, right? To be more specific, on the server there is some software you can consider which is called as database, and inside that software this data is stored. So let's say if you want to basically in this function eat, let's assume we are actually fetching some data from the database. Okay, in this eat function we are fetching some data from the database. So if I call Gautam.eat, then this function will fetch the data from the database. Yes or no? Yes or no? You understood what I said?
Yes.
If I write the logic or if I write the program inside this function, I can write all those logic like connect to this data. I can write all the program here, how to fetch the data from the database. It will include some lines of program. So that program I'll write here, okay, which is responsible for fetching the data from the database. So whenever I will call Gautam.eat, right, this all lines will be executed and the program will run and it will fetch the data from the database. Will you agree?
Yes.
Very simple, nothing much difficult. But before fetching the data from the database, one very important thing is to be done. What is that? For those who have done SQL and all those kind of stuff, who have worked with databases, before fetching the data from the database, one thing has to be done. Before that, you cannot fetch only the data, neither you can insert, neither you can delete. What is that? What you will do? If you want to fetch some data from the database, what is the first step which you should do? Without that, you will not be able to. Come on, Aishwarya, you don't know. Those who have worked with database, what you did then? What is the first step which you do in database? If you have built any project, you must be able to answer this one. You first of all have to do the connection with the database. If you don't do database connection, right, by typing what is the username, the password and all those kind of stuff, if you don't create a connection or login into the database, you will not have access to the database. How can anyone be given access to the database? How can anyone fetch the data? How can anyone add the data? Then if you give this privilege, right, anyone will come and add the data, anyone will fetch the data and go. Any hacker will use it they'll misuse it, right? So first of all, authentication has to be done about the user who is trying to fetch the data. So first of all, you will connect with the database with the right username and password, and if it is right, that time only you are allowed to fetch the data. So this part, what is there, right, I can consider it as initialization process, because for any database operation which I want to do, like we may want to fetch some data from the database, we may want to add some data from the database, for all these operations, one basic step is required itself. What is that? First of all, connection has to be done. So what I can do is, I can call the constructor, and inside because the constructor will run at the starting itself, right? So inside the constructor, I can write the code for connection of the database, and whatever connection is there, right, I can store it in the self. That means I can store it inside the object itself. Why I am storing it inside the object? Because here, if I store anything inside the object here, if I write the code and store it using self dot something, I can store whatever is there, right? If I store it inside this self, right, the advantage what I get is, I can use it in this function also, I can use it in this function also, I can use it in all the other functions that are available inside the class. Why? Because self keyword is available here also, self keyword is available here also. If I have created a age variable inside self dot age, if I create a self variable and assign some value to that self dot age variable, then because self is available inside this function also, I can use self dot age here also, I can use self dot age here also, because self variable is available no here, so I can use self dot. And you already know that constructor is going to be called first before all these functions are going to be executed. So obviously when we create an object, this constructor will be called. In our case, it will do the database connection and it will store it in the self. After storing it in the self, you can execute this SQL query here because it is already stored in self, and you can use it with the help of self keyword. Is that clear? We will be solving some examples on this, and that time it should be way more clear, I feel, but still I think it should, I am not sure if you have understood or not what I said. No response. Will you speak something?
Yes, understood.
Okay, so let's see how much you have understood. I'll give you a task. You will have to build a mobile phone. Okay, you will have to build a mobile phone, and if you want, write and take the attributes of that. The mobile phone will display date. Then the mobile phone will have one function which is show wallpaper, and it will display some wallpaper. The mobile phone will have one more function which is send email, which is responsible for sending email. Now you will not send email exactly here, but you can write the program for that also. We will write that how to send emails using Python and all, but right now you can just print I am sending a email. Okay, that's it. The mobile phone is going to have these two features. The mobile phone is going to have one more attribute which is color. Model name it is going to have price. These three attributes are there, and functions I told you. It can also do one more thing. It can do call. It will have one more feature which is calling. This is like attribute. Sorry, can someone tell me what is the attribute inside all these things what I told, and which are the functions?
Calling is the function. Price, model, color,
Those all are
date. Those all are attributes.
Attributes, perfect. So you have understood. And another things I told, it can send email and it can show wallpaper. These all things. Show wallpaper and send email. These are attributes or functions?
Send email is function.
Show wallpaper. If you call this show, if you just say show wallpaper, right, what it is going to do is it is going to display some wallpaper in front of you.
Function.
Maybe it might display same wallpaper or different wallpaper, that I don't know, but it will display something in front of you. It's a function because it's not a value, right, where I will store some true or false. I will store some integer value like price and all. It is not some value which is like model name, which is a hard coded value which I will store. It is not some value like color. Wallpaper is not like a color, right? I will store red, green, like that. It can display whatever wallpaper it wants. Okay, we can just print that showing a new wallpaper. Can someone tell me the code? Can someone tell me the code fast? I'll just keep on writing.
Class mobile.
Class mobile. Perfect. Next.
And that date is equal to.
Now tell me one thing first of all. Okay, let's write first of all the functions which we want. Okay, so def show wallpaper, I'll write. Show wallpaper. Okay, it will take, I have told you the functions which are available inside the class will always take a default parameter self. So it will maybe print displaying a new wallpaper. Okay, let's create one more function which is responsible for sending email. Show send email. And don't ask me like why I have written here comma, why I have not written a comma, it's like optional. Print. Now you might be saying, like, sometimes you might be feeling silly, right? What you are doing, send email you wrote and you are just printing sending email. Okay, just for simplicity I am doing this. Inside this function you can write all the code which is responsible for really sending the email. It's your choice. Inside this you can write all the code which is really responsible for changing wallpaper. You can do that. This is for simplicity, we are just writing here printing. Okay, we are just printing sending email. One more function I have told, I think it is
Calling.
send email, calling, call. So we will take a number here. Okay, we will just say which number to call. Self will take a one parameter which is number and it will say calling to this number. Print calling to some number. Okay, I can use whichever formatting functions you have. You can use format number. Okay, I have already explained these all things. I'll not be explaining all this kind of stuff. Three things are there. Perfect, looks good. We have created all this kind of stuff. Let's create an object first of all. How do you create an object? We have mobile, like this we write, and we basically store it in some variable. We give it some name like this. Perfect, looks good. So I want to create three mobiles, and one mobile is going to be of 10,000, another mobile is going to be basically of maybe 12,000, another mobile is going to be of 15,000. These three mobiles I want to create, and one mobile is going to be one orange, one red and one green color. Orange, white, green, these three colors will be there of these particular mobile phones. And maybe we can do adjustment in that this one also. Color I told mobile and model name. Okay, so let's call three different models I want to launch on the Amazon. One is maybe let's call it as S1, let's call second as S2 series, S1 series, S2 series and S3 series. These three models I want to launch with a different prices. Can someone tell me how to do it now? Can someone tell me how to do? Y'all will tell or no? Y'all know or y'all basically can tell or no?
Yes.
Come on. If it is wrong, it's okay.
Mobile 1 is equals to
Mobile 1. Okay, mobile 1 is equals to. Okay,
mobile.
Okay, so I'll write here itself mobile 1. This is the first object. Such three objects I want to create, right? So let's create three objects. Perfect. Mobile 1 I'll call mobile 2 and I'll call mobile 3. Perfect. Now you tell me. Three objects I created. I want to assign some properties to this. Now how to do it?
inside that bracket we can give price 10,000.
Inside this bracket I can yes, I can. That's a better way to do it. Okay, you can do something like this also. Mobile 1 dot price and set the price to whatever you want. This is another way to do it, but this is not a better. This is one way to do it. You can do it, but I would say that this all initializing process, whatever is there, right? You can, because maybe you might be using somewhere price here. Okay, maybe you want to display here this mobile phone. If the price is basically 60,000, I can show you, ask you to add one more feature. If the price is basically greater than 60,000, if it is 10,000, then you have to display a Mickey Mouse wallpaper. If the price is 12,000, you will have to display this wallpaper. If the price is this much, you will have to display another wallpaper. If you want to do that, okay. So you understood that somehow you need the price variable inside this function. Will you agree?
Yes.
Yes, I need. So first of all, the first question should be, if I want to use these price variables in any of the functions, right, let me first of all assign it before calling this functions itself. And the best place to assign all this is where? Before all these functions gets called? The best place to assign. Where?
Constructor.
Constructor. Perfect. Create a constructor. For this purpose, you will use constructor. Initializing all the values, whichever you want to use. I'll do something like this. First parameter will be self. I will accept few parameters here. Maybe one is mobile mod, one is model. I'll accept price, and I'll express what I told.
Color.
The one.
Color.
Perfect. Now whatever this attributes I'm going to get, right, let me first of all assign this to a object. Object is actually self. Why to assign it to object? What is the reason to assign it to object? Tell me. Simple code to assign it to object is something like this. Create a variable model, create a variable price. This is actually the variable you are creating, and this is the actual price that is coming from here. This price will be coming here, it will be replaced by whatever price you pass like this, and this value now will be assigned to this variable which you have created, but this variable belongs to self, that means belongs to the object. What is the reason of assigning it to self? Tell me. Why should we assign do self dot? What is the reason? You know, can you tell or should I tell? If you guess it, you will get it right, because I feel I have already told it. You know why you should assign it to this variable self? Because you can use it in any other function. Got the point? How you can use it in any other function? Tell me. How you can use it in some other function? You're there or no?
Yes.
Okay. Can you tell me first of all how you can use it inside this function? If I want to get the color, how can I use it inside this function? Here.
Color. Self dot color.
Self dot color. As simple as that. Where we have assigned the color variable? We have assigned this color variable inside the self object. And do we have access to the self object inside this function? Yes, we have. I told you, right, every function will have this common attribute which is self. That means whatever you are going to assign it to self in the initializing process, that means whatever you are going to assign to self variable in the constructor can be used in any function that is available inside the class. Any function can be used anywhere inside the class. I can write something like this also here. I can say print self dot something. Why I am able to do this? Because self variable can be used anywhere else. So I am telling that the reason to assign, as soon as you get the values from the constructor, right, put it inside self. Why to put it inside self? Because the advantage is that if you put it inside self, self variable is accessible to all the functions that are available inside the class. And because self variable is available to all the functions that is available inside the class, all the functions that are there inside the class, you can use whatever properties you have assigned here in any other function. You got the point?
Yes.
Let's say if you don't assign, now what will happen, you know? You have those model properties only here. You can store it in some model, you can store it in variables like this also. Model name is basically equals to model, whatever model is coming from here, store it inside this variable model name. Yes, you can do like this. Price is basically equals to maybe whatever price is coming from here. This price is actually this price, okay, and this is the variable which I have created. I have given the same name, that's okay, but this is the price. Right side is the price which is coming from here, which will be passing as a parameter, and left hand side is actually the variable name in which the value will be stored. Color value will be equals to the color what is coming from here, and this in this variable it will be stored. Now also I have stored it in variables itself, no issues, and if I print it, it will work. My question is, now it is not accessible inside this function. Can I do something like this? Print model name? No, you cannot do something like that. Print a model underscore name now inside this function. See here, it is giving error. Why? Because this is available only inside this function. This is not available inside this function. Now what if you get into problems where whatever parameters you have passed here, maybe you need it inside this function, maybe you need it inside this function, maybe you need it some another function that is available inside the class. That time what you will do? You will not be able to use it itself. That is the reason why you assign it to self. If you just write here self, now you have assigned it to self, that means you have assigned it to object. And the object is accessible to every function. How? See here, the parameter itself is there, self. Self parameter is there, that means object is there, and using this object now you can access any other value. Where it is stored? It is stored inside the object self. Self dot model name, now it will work. Is that clear?
Yes.
Perfect. Let's pass some values. X1 is the model which I want to send, the first one. Second model, maybe like something like this. I'll just write it, whatever it is suggesting me. Come on, suggest me. Come on. X2.
X2.
I'm just writing whatever it is suggesting, okay? And let me give it 120 because I told 10,000, right? This is a very small price for mobile phones. Mobile phones will not come in this much price. X3, let's make it $150. Okay, let's say black, and let's say maybe or let's say blue. I told red, orange, green, right? Not important what I am writing. Color you give whichever you want, okay? That's not important, okay? But we have passed. Whatever we have passed is going to be stored in this variables, and now I can show here, I can do something like this. If I told you to do this, right? If maybe self dot price is basically equal to maybe dollar of 100. If it is 100, then maybe showing wallpaper for cheaper mobile, for $100 mobile. Maybe you want to show a different wallpaper, okay? Now see here, I'm just printing here, man, just to make you understand. But we can actually write the code for showing different wallpapers. That is possible. We have different libraries for it. We can really send mails from one person to another person in Python with the help of different libraries. That is possible. That code, if you want to write, you can just write it here. I'm just printing here, showing wallpaper maybe for $100 mobile. Okay, for this wallpaper is different. Similarly, I can write some different if conditions. I can write multiple if conditions, or I can use else if statement. Whichever you want to use, you can use. Okay, so I can write else elif maybe showing wallpaper for elif if self dot this is basically price is equal to maybe 120. Then because I'm passing 120 there, I can show something like this, showing wallpaper for 120. Else means the remaining one, that is nothing but $1,500. So showing wallpaper for $150 mobile, because we have checked two conditions. Remaining condition is basically 150 itself. Okay, we can do like this. Is that clear what I'm trying to say?
Yes.
Let's call mobile1 dot when you create an object, right, the constructor will initialize all these values to these variables and put it inside this object which is self. Now let's call show wallpaper. Perfect. We are calling this function. Let's create a mobile2 object also. We have already created the object, so let's call mobile2 dot show wallpaper. Looks good. And I think we should be getting amazing thing. Showing wallpaper for $100. Perfect, looks good. Showing wallpaper for $220 because we have created two different mobiles. For two different models it is showing. Looks really good. So you can say, like, you can call this function also. Let's call it and see. Mobile one dot call function. I will call. Come on. Call. I'll pass some number inside this. Similarly, I'll call this one also, mobile2 dot call function. Again, let's pass a different number. Starts with 9. Let's say. Let's run it. See here. Amazing. We are getting calling to this number. Different numbers we are getting. So because we were accepting some number here. Okay, so that is why it is saying. Okay, you can print maybe like this also. Print mobile color is self dot color value. Now from tomorrow onwards, I am telling you, you must be able to do this very fast. You must be completely clear with this. You must be able to do it very fast. See here, it is printing the color value also. Where is it printing? Yeah, it is printing color is orange, color is basically white. you must be able to play around with these classes very fast. When to use constructor, how to assign values, how to create functions, how to write some things and all. You have to do it very fast. You must be able to play around with this. However you want to create functions, whichever you want, doesn't matter. But you must be able to write this code fast. From tomorrow onwards, we will be seeing the 4 fundamental concepts of classes, which is inheritance. Will not spend more time there. I'll explain you from interview perspective also how questions might be asked there. What it might be asked and how you can answer them. I'll make your concepts also clear of all those things: overriding, overloading, inheritance, polymorphism, all those kind of stuff. Tomorrow we'll see that. I think we'll wind up OOPS within some class, and from next class after that we will be starting with some libraries. We'll go and explore Thinker library. We'll try to create some desktop applications using Python with the help of that library. We'll try to make requests to some API and try to scrape some website. Web scraping we'll try to do and see. We may try to send some emails and see to some places using Python. We'll try to explore some NumPy pandas if you all want. So we'll be doing some play around with libraries itself. I will teach you how to do it on your own. I will not just teach you these libraries, but I will teach you how to basically play around on your own. Okay, so that's it. But I think OOPS concept by now, this class should make it completely clear of lots of things constructors use and all those kind of things. How you can create your classes, what is the use of that, what is self, and all this kind of stuff. I think you must be completely clear. If you have any doubts, if you face any problems, you can just message me. We'll be always there to help. Okay, you have any doubts? If you have any doubts, you can just ask, or else we'll wind up. As usual, you will say no doubts. Nothing new inside that. So that's it. Thank you so much. We'll wind up.
Bye bye.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.